paying lip service to what the President said on the 6th of December when he was in Copenhagen, becoming part of the Copenhagen Accord. And we also believe that we've got a responsibility to reverse the impact of the more than 150 years of development by making sure that the next 50 years we don't pollute and devastate the environment. This morning, those who saw TV, they showed even the ice caps on the mountains in the continent of Africa, the Kenyan mountain and the Mount Kilimanjaro, that it is starting to melt, which is an indication of the impact of global warming, even in Africa itself. So that's why we say we are going to invest our resources and time on energy efficiency, but also on renewable energy. And we believe that with importation, especially if you are investing in the region and you continue investing in coal-fired, know that we will overlook you in favor of those in the country. But we will consider those who are in renewable in the region, because it will also help us offset our own carbon emissions, because we also need to be able to do good to the impact of our Sasols and the impact of our ESCOMs. I'm mentioning Sasol and ESCOM as truly South African born and bred, so that whatever their sins are, they will be meted onto us as government. So whenever we go out of the country, we'll be reminded of the impact of the work of Sasol and ESCOM. So we need to also, whatever we import, offset that through the need for carbon trading. So the IRP, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the time now, OMPI and team would be, if you are available at whatever time, to create a platform where they can come and make inputs, for you to be able to make inputs. It's available. We've got a website, www.irp2010, what do you call it? .co.za or .gov.za. Or whatever you tell them. But we actually say it is important that we communicate, and allow for maximum input by the different industry role players, even those who are already in the space. I just want to say, somebody was telling me that the banks, when they go and apply for infrastructure funds, like for example, I'm not talking to you. I'm just saying the banks were saying to some of the potential investors in the IPPs in power generation, they were saying to them, go to the Department of Energy and make sure that your project is reflected in the IRP. There would not be a project in the IRP called by name. We are going to give the amount of megawatts we would be taking from whatever source that would be. And remember, the IRP is a dynamic document. Every year or every second year, every third year, we will review it based on the developments in the world and in the country. So it is important to remember that no project will be written in by name except those that exist, that are government driven. And I also need to explain this thing. There is a belief out there in the country that we are going to be selling off ESCOM. We are not going to be selling off ESCOM. We are saying 30% of power generation must be done by IPPs. So that is not selling the utility company. We don't want to be fighting with anybody from the Youth League or SATU, whoever, about a national asset. It will be dangerous for us, in any case, to outsource wholesale ESCOM. Imagine, just look at yourself being a captain of your industry and the power that you need is being sold to your competitor or to someone. They can close you off. They can kill you off. And one thing we know, that in the world, energy is a source of war, be it oil or electricity. And also we say as South Africa, we can not only rely on importation for supply to South Africans. One day we annoy the Mozambicans and they close us off. Where will we be? And I think it is important that we remember that. So I just want to say that Those who believe really that your project must be mentioned by name in the IRP, you can dream, it won't be realized. The other thing that we are busy with is the independent systems and market operator. We are establishing this buying office so as to be able to minimize the monopoly that Eskom had on the ability to buy power from independent power producers, to create an office, a buying office for power that will be generated by the independent power producers. So that is the role of the independent systems and market operator. And I want to indicate that one of the key areas that we are also looking at is that you would remember the President announced in February that he has established an interministerial committee which has working groups that is working on the different sources of energy. One of those that we are looking at and investing our time and resources on is nuclear. The Department of Science and Technology is looking at the different technologies that would be necessary. Trade and industry is looking at how we will make it possible that it is localized. Higher education is looking at the skills that would be necessary for us to make it possible that we invest in a fleet of power plants in the nuclear field, so that we don't export the money, your taxes, to other parts of the world. We need to be able to grow this country. We want to turn, like the President said on the 28th, we want to create a developed South Africa. And it is only with the runs and science of South Africa that we will be able to achieve that. So I just wanted to say to you, all of you, that we are committed to make sure that South Africa is self-sufficient when it comes to energy. And that is why I announced in the budget speech that in this year we will start the process to look at the integrated energy planning, so that we just don't look at electricity, we look at energy holistically. And we believe we'll engage more with you about all the other work that we're still doing as the Department of Energy, because we believe that whatever we do has an impact on the unborn child, including the body that is being driven to the mortuary. Because for that woman who is pregnant to know the sex of the child, you need electricity for that sonar to work. Even for a safe birth, you need electricity. And throughout your life, education, health, and everything, you will need energy of one type or the other. But even when you are dead, for that vehicle to drive you to the graveyard or to go and sprinkle your ashes somewhere, it needs to be powered by one energy source or the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I think you can see a minister who's passionate about energy, passionate about the different forms of energy, and very knowledgeable.